Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with a brand new review of Insecure Season 5, Episode 3. Let me just say this. Oh my gosh. When I tell you, honey, if you ain't co-parenting, then this might not have triggered you like it triggered me. But it was just an emotional roller coaster. Okay. And it was like all of 10 minutes. And I was like, oh my God. And then what else is going on? Child, please don't end these episodes like this. Now, let me tell you something, Issa. I'm speaking directly to you, honey, even though I know you probably ain't gonna never hear this and or see this. But, it's season 5. You couldn't have stretched it on out to an hour. I got a lot to say. Child, the review gonna be longer than the episode. Child, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. So when the episode first opens up, we see a flashback of Issa walking away when he dropped her off. Child, I got choked up. I said, oh my God. Not them parting ways, honey. So it's 1 year prior, and he still had boxes packed for his San Francisco apartment. So it's 1 year later, and he's waking up in his apartment. It's a far cry from the dunes. It definitely is not his friend downstairs speaking with all B pronouns, if y'all know what I'm saying. Okay? So he's on his way to his job. He's in the conference room listening to a pitch for a smart apparel startup. Child, not the smart clothes. Now, I will admit, sometimes I do wish I could be on my Judy Jetson and my bra would just know when to pop off, okay, at bedtime, because sis be exhausted at the end of the day. Do y'all understand me? I be so tired. Honey, I want a clapper. I want some smart clothes. I want a smart TV. I want a smart watch. I want to be smart. Child, just look, everything control itself because I am tired. So they're trying to decide if they want to move forward with the startup. So Lawrence decides that he wants to take a chance on him. Okay, Lawrence, child, give a startup a chance. Got to start somewhere. Moving forward. Fast forward to the evening. He's having dinner with this pretty woman, and they're definitely not vibing. And they're trying to spark up a conversation, right? So he's asking the standard date questions, like how many siblings do you have? That type of thing. I hate starting over. And this scene right here shows me why. I'm like, okay, 39 years old, you gonna start over and start asking, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? Honey, I don't want to get to know someone all over again. Even though I know eventually I'm going to have to, because child, my son gonna grow up and get his zhuzh with somebody, and I'm just gonna be sitting here looking. But at the same time, I'm not trying to have no awkward conversations over sushi. Do y'all know what I'm saying? I have like 17 favorite colors and foods still stored up from past relationships. Okay. So then they start talking about him being/not being from LA. Honey, he can't figure out if he is or he ain't. He's like, I've been living there 8 years. Carry the one. I'm like a transplant, but I'm really there. I live there. I don't know if I'm from there. Boy, hush. Okay. So she asked if he liked the city. He said, yeah, but I'm just afraid of the trolley. She's like, why? He's like, they don't have doors. I could roll down one of those steep hills. Now listen, the trolley can be a bit of trouble. Okay, it can be a little troublesome, but I think you're fine. I really think you're okay. Whenever I think about San Francisco, I think of Full House, because I remember they were on that hill and then you could see all the San Francisco homes behind them. And I also think about Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat. I do not know why that always pops in my mind, but I always think Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat. Child, I watch too much TV. But that always pops in my mind. Anywho, I visited San Francisco once, but I was very young. But I would love to visit again because I heard it was beautiful. So anywho, that's just a side note. So as she's laughing at him getting his roll on, everybody get your roll on. Everybody get your roll on. What? Shout out to the big timers. So his phone started buzzing, y'all. So he's like, excuse me, I need to pick this up. First of all, no, your phone shouldn't even be on the table on a date. If you're interested in me, I'm going to need you to put that phone down. But he went on ahead and looked at the child, and good thing he did. So he picks it up and he's like, oh, She's like, what happened? He said, I guess my baby was just born. Not I guess my baby was just born. Let me just say this to y'all. If I was on this date, this would definitely be a story time that's really a story time. Because I would have to tell y'all about this date, honey. I would have to. So she starts laughing. She's like, can you imagine? Sis, this isn't a drill, okay? This is the real thing. He really is a whole new dad on a date, okay? He got to go. So then he leaves her some money. He's like, here, hopefully this is enough. I gotta go. So he gets up, he leaves, and catches the flight. When he gets to the hospital, he's like, I need to see Condoleezza. And they're like, what? And he's like, I need to see Comptroller. He's just trying to figure out how he can get to the room, right? So they're like, Nurse Karen or Nurse Kathy, I think this one is yours. So she comes over and she's like, oh, hey, your little one's so healthy. Came a little early. Mom did great. And he was looking a little perplexed, like came a little early. Well, you would know had you been involved in anything, okay? So she's like, yeah, she did very little tearing. Ma'am, which way? Please point us in the direction of the room, child. This is a fool. Moving forward. They get in the room. She's in there with Kiki as her sister and Layla Rashawn as her mom. Cocoa Puffs actually does seem like she could be Layla's daughter, though. They favor a little bit. And I thought Kiki wanted to be tagged in to fight Condoleezza. Like, what happened with that? Child, Issa said, sis, it is. I love me some Kiki Palmer. Do y'all hear me? And she a Virgo too? Oh, yes, ma'am. So they all sitting there looking crazy. So mom gets up and introduces herself. And I was like, he didn't even know her family. Like, they definitely weren't together long before she got pregnant. Her mom was nice to him, however. And he's like, so how is he? She's like, oh, he's fine. His name is Elijah Mustafa. Okay. Okay, listen. Have y'all ever seen the episode of Martin when they thought Gina was pregnant and Pam had that book of baby names from the motherland? And she was like, what about Mustafa or Jawaka Matima or Flotasia? Flotasia. If you're a real Martin fan, then you know that episode, okay? I know I'm not out here by myself. And when she said Mustafa, I'm like, let me find out you over there reading out of that book Pam had. But anywho, that's just a side note, child. That's what it reminded me of. So they said that they named him after their grandfather. And he said, Mustafa. That's nice. Yes, nice and strong. You ain't gonna run over no Mustafa. You ain't gonna do it, honey. You are not gonna run over no Mustafa. But his mama is Condola, some Mustafa. It's a whole Wakanda thing happening. Moving forward. So they asked if he wanted to hold the baby. He said yes. No. Okay, sir, you are fresh off of a plane, a nasty airplane, okay? And you didn't even wash your hands. So no, you're not going to be able to hold the baby. I mean, that would be just me, because I was overprotective of mine, honey. I know this is fiction, so I'm going to chill out a little bit. But if it was real life, y'all already know how I am. In the next scene, he's at Chad's house, right, putting on some clean sheets. And he's telling him how Condola was acting like she was doing him a favor by giving the baby his last name. So then here go Chad. Well, who wouldn't want their baby to walk? I mean, better speak it into existence. Boy, gone. Because his last name is Walker. I said, Chad is a fool, honey. I love me some Chad. So he hands Lawrence some clothes that he got for the baby child, because some clothes was little bit toe. Do y'all hear me? Them some little bit toe shorts, honey, all knees. So he tells him that they named the baby Elijah Mustafa. Now, this is the thing about them just going on ahead and naming the baby. Now, I do know that she decided that she was going to go through with the pregnancy, come hell or high water. She was going to go through with the pregnancy. He said, keep me posted. I don't know if they have been keeping us posted, because Issa left us hanging. So we don't know what's been going on. We don't know how her and Molly came back to be. We don't know why Kelly was dead but wasn't really dead. We don't know why Issa turned around and walked away but still looking at the full moon. Like, we don't know anything. So I don't know if she was keeping him posted. I don't know if he went to the doctor's appointments. But what I do know is he got himself up and moved to San Francisco. Now that part, child, I was like, okay, honey, whatever you say. So Chad said, oh, Mufasa. Y'all don't really mess with the remake. I mean, if Beyonce gonna be in the movie, I want to see Beyonce in the movie. I mean, touche. The remake wasn't what it was supposed to be, but child, he's a mess. So they started talking about him being there when he gets circumcised. Here go Chad. Yeah, you got to make sure they don't cut too much off. I mean, it happened to my cousin. I mean, I didn't look at it, but he told me. No, your cousin lying. Your cousin lying. He's just short and small. Don't want no short man. Your cousin lying, Chad. Moving forward. So then Lawrence was like, I found out my baby was born through a text message, bro, and her family is already acting like I'm a deadbeat. Yeah, they were supposed to cast Kiki to hate her, but it's you instead. Okay, so you get what you get and you don't pitch a fit. They could have given him a heads up, though. I feel like they could have given him something, but again, I have no context. Like, was he neglectful throughout the pregnancy? If so, then be happy for the text. Okay, if he was trying and he was going to some doctor's appointments and he knew the sex of the baby and he was there at the baby shower, which I don't think they had a baby shower because the mom and the sister didn't even know him. So that's some context right there. Child, I'm completely lost. Anywho, if he was trying, then at least tell him like your water broke or something. But I'm just going to say, if this was the real world and we were being realistic, okay, I know this is scripted. We ain't got no time to be calling you talking about no water broke. That's on the movies, okay? When the water break and the contractions start to happen, it's time to go. It's time to go, okay? Everyone who's there is going to be there, and everyone who's not is not. I mean, that's just what it is. But I do want to say this. I mean, he did just up and move despite having a whole baby on the way. I mean, it's not like you were going to be able to drive to her. If she did call you and say the water broke, what were you going to do? She can't hold the baby in until you get off the plane. Like, some of this stuff ain't making no sense. Now, I'm just going to say this. I don't know whose side I'm really on, okay? Because it's so many raw emotions that this episode gave me, and I could relate so much to Chipmunk, and I could also relate to Lawrence. So, I mean, we just going to continue to get into it as we get into it. Chad said, how you going to be a deadbeat? The baby just got into the world, just came out of the poom poom. I know that's right. If they want deadbeat, honey, they should have casted my child's father. Now, Issa. You should have called him, honey, and he would have been there in a minute, honey, because he sure ain't taking care of no kids. Moving forward. Lauren said, well, I told her I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there for anything else. I'm not being left out of nothing else. So they're at the baby's doctor's appointment the next day, right? And the doctor was like, he lost a little weight, which is normal, but they're both concerned. So the pediatrician assures them that it's fine. So then he starts asking her about how the breastfeeding was going. She was like, it's good. I'm seeing a lactation consultant, to try to get her milk production up, right? Baby, that milk production ain't no joke. I wasn't producing not nothing. I thought I was going to starve my little baby to death. And then I had so much pressure from everybody. The breast milk is going to make him so much smarter. I mean, you got to do the breast milk for his immunity and just do the breast milk. And I'm like, oh my God, please. Child, I was over here like I was milking a cow, not getting out a drop. I said, you know what? I'm going to go get some Enfamil and y'all can go to hell. I will not kill my baby because y'all want me to breastfeed. And it's really a struggle because people really be out here like, you're not a mom or a real mom if you don't breastfeed. And that was stuck in my head. And I was like, gotta breastfeed. But my baby was withering away. So once I started to produce a little bit of milk, I did everything in the book. Okay. Everything. And still barely got 2 ounces. So, child, in the grand scheme of things, we went on down, got us some Enfamil and called it a day. Moving forward. So then the pediatrician starts telling them, basically count your blessings because a lot of these babies are precious. And honey, y'all know exactly what I mean when I say precious. There will be no children slander over on this channel. Moving forward. I was thinking to myself, though, when the pediatrician is talking, I was like, this got to be against some kind of HIPAA law, some kind of law for you to call these babies, UGLY, they ain't got no alibi, honey. It's got to be something against that. Child, this is a fool. So as they're walking to the car, he was asking about switching the doctor's appointments. Nope, not going to be able to do that. So then he asked about the baby being baptized. He's like, my mom was, asking about it. She's like, oh, yeah, it's a church down the street, so we're doing it there. He's like, you already planned it? She said, yeah, it's not finalized, but we were going to shoot you the info. Child, not shoot him a text. Girl, he's trying to be involved. See, this is what irked me about the first 5 minutes of this episode because, honey, it was only 10 minutes tops. There are so many men who don't want to have anything to do with it. When they say keep me posted, they literally mean they're going to look at one of your posts to see how the baby's doing. Your Instagram post, your Twitter post, at the post office, honey, they're not going to be involved. So he's actually trying to be there. So I'm like, girl, okay, now you tripping. Y'all already named the baby. Y'all already did everything else. And now he can't even be involved as far as the christening or the baptism is concerned. Come on now. Canada, if you weren't going to let him be involved, then why even tell him you were pregnant? You could have gotten a donor if zero involvement was included. Child, I don't feel sorry for Lawrence, though. He was out there passing out chlamydia and pregnancy. So let this be a lesson to y'all to wrap it up. Moving forward. She really doing it all at this point. He might as well just FaceTime in because she got it all covered according to her. In the next scene, Lawrence is back in San Francisco trying to put together a crib. Honey, I don't know why you putting this crib together. She is not letting that baby leave her sight, let alone the city. Are you crazy? Child. Anywho. So then they pan over to after the baptism and they're at the celebration, right? And I was looking at that green bean casserole and I was like, ooh, child, who made that? I don't care if craft services made it. I don't care who made that. That looked disgusting, okay? Child, y'all know I love to eat. I was looking at that. I was like, oh my God. So anywho, that's just a side note. So they're taking pictures together. And when they were taking those pictures, y'all, I think she really wants to be together as a family because that look that she gave him, it pretty much said it all. I'm sorry, comptroller, it ain't happening. He's still stuck on Issa. Charlie can't even date good. He couldn't even have a conversation because he couldn't keep his head in the game. So Uncle Ronnie, who is Lawrence's uncle, child, he is a mess. He in there passing out $5 bills and well wishes. Outside, his parents are like, that wasn't no baptism. That was a drizzle of Jesus. His mom said... Now, I named it a drizzle of Jesus, child, because she said they just sprinkled his forehead. His mom said, well, his forehead is saved, but what about the rest of them? Lawrence said, Mom, so he was trying to explain it to her. His mom said, oh, so she made an Evite and you gave up on your baby's soul. Got it. And the reason why I laughed so hard when I watched that part, because that sounds like something that I might tell my son in the future. I was like, look at his mama being me in the future, child. It's like looking in the mirror. She's like, you need to take him to Pastor Clark for a full dip. Child, not like you're getting in the pool, not a full dip. Oh, child. Moving forward. So Lawrence goes back inside with confusion and the baby, and they're talking about naps. So Kiki's character was like, yeah, I'm sure you're so tired, because Lawrence was like, oh yeah, nap sounds good. She was like, yeah, I'm sure you're tired, because child, they thinking to themselves, you ain't did nothing. You don't get up to feed the baby. You're not here when the baby is crying. You're not here for any of that. You get to live your life. And on that part, I could relate. But their situation is different, okay? Totally different. So Lawrence suggests they get together as a family for the holidays. And he's like, yeah, and I can get the baby for a week. And she's like, a week is like a year. He said, no, it's actually a week. Well, Lawrence, honey, I hate to break it to you, but to a mom, that is an eternity. Okay? She barely sent you a text that he was in the world. So, I mean, don't push it. We ain't there yet. So Lawrence is like, yeah, my dad wants to teach him how to swim. He thinks he has swimmer's feet. Sir, read the room. You ain't getting the baby. Okay, they all looking at each other, looking all crazy. You ain't getting the baby. In the next scene, Lawrence is back in San Francisco. Child, he racking up those frequent flyer miles. Do y'all hear me? Lawrence went from San Francisco to LA, from LA to San Francisco to San Fran to LA to San Fran. So many times, I was like, oh, child, I'm tired. Oh, my God. So he shoots Condola a text after he got a reminder on his phone about his flight, right? He's like, yeah, work is getting crazy. I can't come. I wish moms could phone it in. I wish I could just send a text and be like, yeah, I ain't gonna be able to make it in today. I don't feel good. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do it. We can't do that. Okay? We can't. We just can't. She looks at the text and then her sister comes in, right? And she's like, what? Well, I already know that you hate him. Well, how do you know that she hates him? Cocoa Puff? Huh? Because you have been saying negative things about him to your family. So that's why she hates him already. So therefore, and thus and such, that is your fault. So they started talking about how they were supposed to go get a massage, but they can't do it now. What? You were going to let him see him alone that long? Child, you probably going to have him sitting in the waiting room in the lobby, child. Just sit out here for an hour while I get my massage and I'll be right out. She is not about to let her baby out of her sight. In the next scene, she sends him a text talking about Tiffany's baby's first birthday party and if they should go together. And he made sure to text her back and say, with Eli? Child, he don't want her getting no ideas. And let me just say this. He calls him Ja and she calls him Eli. Now, I'm really not a fan of compact computer, but at the same time, I'm going to have to go with Eli on this one. I mean, it just rolls off the tongue a little better. Moving forward. So she agreed and he was like, all right, I'm down. They get to the baby celebration of it all. Kelly sees Lawrence in convenience store and she's like, hi, okay, that's a full baby with both of your faces. Yes, sis, he had a whole baby with someone other than Issa. I still can't believe it. I just cannot believe it. So Lawrence is like, oh, y'all got Peppa Pig. She said, no, that's Pepper with a hard R. Pepper. Baby, Kelly is a fool. When I tell y'all that is me. So compression walks away for a minute and Lawrence is trying to get the download on Issa on the slick, talking about, how is everyone? Kelly said, oh, everyone I associate with is thriving in abundance, limitless. I know that's right, child. I know that's right. See, this is how you answer on behalf of a friend, okay? When that ex start asking questions that they don't need to ask, she's fine. Why you worried about her? Okay? Worry about your ready-made family. Just add water, bruh. Don't worry about Issa. She's okay. She got that lift, and she's fine. So, speaking of friends, why wouldn't Issa and Molly be at the birthday party? Like, I know some people don't do kids parties without kids. Plus, they probably told Issa Lawrence and Compton were going to be there, so don't come. And she was like, okay, because I ain't trying to run into them and that baby. So maybe that's why. But I just thought it was strange, like Molly didn't come either. Like, someone right. Anywho, that's just a side note. So Kelly goes over there and does a toast about the kids being tiny demons and how she doesn't like children. And then she goes, a toast to an angel amongst demons. I said, now she done insulted everyone else's kids while boosting up her godchild. Child, you love to see it. Moving forward. Lawrence leaves and comes back after stopping to get a baby some carrots. And she's like, what is that on his mouth? He's like, oh, well, he said we could give him solid foods like after 4 months. She's like, well, what if he was allergic? Like, I wanted to introduce him to new foods slower than that. So now these two are about to argue at this baby's party. I'm like, not y'all about to argue at a kid's birthday party. So they get into it and she's like, give me my baby back. So Tiffany's husband comes over and sees it and he runs an interference. That is really so mature. Lawrence is like, what are these boxes that you need me to move? He's like, there's no boxes. And so Lawrence is pissed because she's trying to control everything about the baby. He's like, yes, but you just have to chill because the baby can pick up on that. And, Lawrence was just letting him know, look, our situation is totally different. Y'all are married. And he feels like she's giving him a hard time. And is, even though he's actually trying. So then they do this side by side of the two of them. Now this was the realest thing I've ever seen on a scripted show. She can barely keep her eyes open and he popping bottles and getting it popping. Lawrence gonna smash some cakes to smithereens if he don't do nothing else. I'm like, boy, is that all you do? That's why you in this mess now. Always relieving stress by screwing on somebody. Like, keep your little stuff in your pants. Oh, if this didn't teach you nothing, it's to teach you to hold off on sex for a little minute. Child, this is a fool. But, it's so symbolic for me because I'm always everything and all things while his dad just gets to schedule when and for how long he gonna be a father. And let me just tell you something. That is not fun. Okay? And then you have to think about, is this best for my child? Some days you ain't feeling like an interaction with the other parent. Okay? But you can't do that. You got to just interact anyway. Condolences? Get it together. So he texted and asked for an overnight and she said, sure. Girl, please. You should have said something like, well, he's still too young because you're not going to want him to keep that baby. But y'all know what I was thinking. When y'all gonna verbally communicate? All these texts and awkward meetups only gonna make things harder, honey. This don't make no sense. Issa made the right choice, honey. Their relationship would have really suffered while these two co-parented via text. Now, at first, I wanted Issa to get on back over there with Lawrence. But after looking at this episode, I'm like, yeah, you know what? It's probably for the best, okay? Let these two try to figure this out, honey, because this is a fool. In the next scene, Lawrence shows up ready to take the baby, and he's crying. So he's like, what you said? Because daddy was taking too long. Child, it ain't got nothing to do with you, okay? So she's like, well, let me have him. Let me have him for a little bit so I can calm him down. Let me have him. Girl, he was hollering when he wasn't there. So I'm not understanding what you're about to do. I'm not getting it. So they start spewing out all of this negative energy. So the baby got quiet like, and what's going on now? Child, I know that's right, child. Your parents is fussing. They fighting. She's like, I don't think this is a good idea. He's like, what's wrong with you? She said, I don't trust you. Okay, now when she said, I don't trust you, I think that had everything to do with the fact that she thought the two of them were going to be something. Then all of a sudden, he went back over there with Issa. That's what I really think she doesn't trust. I don't think it's that she doesn't trust him as a father or for him to do the right thing about the baby. I think that she thinks he'll take great care of the baby. She just doesn't trust him, period. Okay, that had everything to do with Issa, and y'all can't convince me otherwise. I said what I said, and I ain't changing it. He's like, stop acting like I'm a stranger. I'm his father. She's like, you're never here, and you don't give me but 3 hours notice when you ain't coming. He's like, I have a job. Was that girl you were sexing, was that a part of the job? I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure I'm clear. I don't know if that was a little overtime or what it was, but that has nothing to do with anything. Okay? I don't think men understand. We never get a free moment. They go to the restroom with us. They go from room to room with us. They're literally attached to us every moment outside of the birth canal and before. So the fact that you're saying you're working, I check in when I can. You had plenty of time. We saw you popping champagne. We saw you celebrating. We saw you getting it in. What were you doing then during those times? You could have checked in then. So that's why I'm saying, honey, I'm a little bit on, I don't know whose side to be on. It's like he really making me side with Condoleezza, and I don't like it. But at the same time, I don't think that she should be bitter and not let him see his child either, because that's where we get the bad rap, the bitter baby mother, the bitter baby mama, or she don't want to let me see my kids, I need to see my kids. And this is why. Okay, it's a fool. So she's pissed because he isn't involved. Well, girl, you won't let him be involved. Okay, he can't, or he hasn't been allowed to make not one choice since the baby has been born. So, I mean, I don't know what you want. He's like, shut up, you never gave me a chance. She said, I did, and you moved away. Oh, okay, so that's what this is about. You thought the pregnancy was gonna make him stay, honey. You gotta make it plain with him. You should have just laid it all out and been communicative, and this probably would be a lot easier. He said, I left for a job I already had before you blew up my life. Okay, say what now? Lawrence, I don't know if you've lost your whole mind, but let me know when you find it, because she's postpartum, okay? She's dealing with the baby all by her lonesome. You're in an entirely different city. So if anything happens, it's no way to just get to you quickly. Even if she did want you involved, you move to an entirely different city knowing that she was pregnant. Like, come on, dude. And then your little nasty behind was trying to pretend to be over Issa, freeballing inside of Condoleezza, and didn't think of that then. So I don't feel bad for you or for her, honey. I feel bad for Elijah. Okay, that's who I feel bad for. Because y'all gonna screw his whole life up if y'all don't get it together. Scripted or not, this is really ticking me off. Okay, this is really ticking me off. The baby got completely quiet, honey, like y'all really doing this. So then he said, well, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to see my son with or without you. She said, what did you say to me? And baby, he said it back. She said, get the hell out of my house. Baby, when I tell you I have had those exact conversations and it ended with get your side of my house. Okay, and I have never let him dot my threshold since then. Oh, baby, I don't play that. So he gets back on this tiny airplane and starts staring out the window. Must be a full moon. Feel like one of those nights. Shout out to Brandy. I'm like, look at him over there thinking about Issa. This the problem right here. You still ain't over Issa. She crying in people's mouth. She ain't over you, the baby in the middle, and you got Condoleezza over here. This is too much. This is too much. It's too much for us as viewers for the last season. It's too much. So then they start experiencing terrible turbulence, right? And I was thinking to myself, Issa is really going to kill off Lawrence for this foolishness. I'm like, now Issa going to kill Lawrence for 4 years of suffering, honey. Oh, child, this is a mess. In the next scene, he gets back home and calls Condola and tells her that he's sorry. So they both agree that it's not working the way that they're doing things. And he's like, so what do we do? And then the screen faded to black. Let me tell y'all what y'all gonna do. What y'all need is a parenting plan and a court order in place, because the two of you need enforcement before y'all mess this baby all the way up. And Lawrence, you might have to move your butt back to LA. Okay, or you're gonna have to move them to San Francisco. Either way, this dual city stuff that you're doing, it's not gonna work. It's gonna be taxing after a while. And there are some major milestones that you're gonna miss being hundreds of miles away. So figure it out. Piss or get off the pot. And child, that was the end of the episode. Y'all tell me how y'all feel. Did y'all think that computer school was right, or did y'all think that Lawrence was right? Whose side were you on? I just have to say that I sympathize with her being a single mom, because that's where I am. And I feel like, my soon-to-be ex-husband gets all the liberties. And I'm just stuck here doing it all. Child, a story time is not really a story time. Real quick before we get out of here. I needed for him to be present for our son. And he decided he was going to take a trip to Jamaica. When I tell y'all that pissed me off, ask me when the last time I went on a vacation. Yeah, it's been that long. A moment of silence. Child, and that's all I got to say. Y'all comment down below and tell me how you like this episode. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.